Good morning, fellow Ambazonians. Today na Friday, number 6th day for this number 1st month, January for 2023. My name na Capo Daniel. I am the Deputy Defense Chief, the Anti-Kidnapping Czar of the ADF, and the spokesperson of the Ambazonian Governing Council, aka Sense Pass King, una own countryman, Lukong, Ambazonian FBI. Una welcome to our daily podcast. This one na a program where they bring una the truth, where they bring una meaningful information, fact-based analysis, where the hell we as we work for this journey to our freedom, the independence of Ambazonia. If you did listen to my podcast, you are part of the 1% most smartest people in Ambazonia. And I want to say congratulations for all those who are loyal to this podcast. It is a major channel which the Governing Council, the biggest Ambazonian organization at home and abroad, it help our leaders and the institution the way our people they don't constitute them for deliver very crucial and very critical information for our people them for help we as we do work out for this journey to our freedom. Fellow Ambazonians, today at one Campfona, where the main leaders them for the leading bloc of Ambazonians movements them. That means the Ambazonian Governing Council, the APLM, the Consortium, and the IG, they don't come together and they don't be recognized internationally for recent development the way they for international community for get pre-talks with La République du Cameroon, our enemy. These pre-talks na a historic development where for the first time the two states, Cameroon and Ambazonia, they don't finally shidong in pre-negotiation for Canada for talk. The details them could be announced by the leaders of this movement them, by Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba, Dr. Ebenezer Akwanga, John Ba Okoro, and Yerima, we been the vice president for the IG group. They could address our population tomorrow, Saturday. We will also anticipate other announcements. We will come for other state parties subsequently. The leader that will address our people, make all money shouldn't quiet, and make all money wait for this big announcement, a very historic announcement. The enemy have been fighting themselves. The infighting in the enemy's camp is bigger than we think, but we are very, very happy and we are anticipating this speech as soon as possible. Distractors, enemies of peace, enemies for Ambazonia, there's their dignity. They run the scramble both for La République and for Ambazonia for destroy this process and this pathway. And I will leave the rest and the details for our leaders them, but would already put forth for the Ambazonian people them in the way we're supposed to be. We don't get a lot of critics and we're supposed to answer critics them, because it will always be the policy for the Ambazonian Governing Council for be transparent and for be accountable. One of accountability and for be able to respond for people their questions them and not for ignore and forgive the type of treatment for our people the way Paul Biada and the Giam for them for all this why. For remain silent. No, we don't be engaged. Diplomacy no be social media. Diplomacy no be thing for taken for campaign, for group for be popular, or for group for show say get power, or you need for show say get recognition. Nevertheless, it don't be so for Ambazonia for a long time, and we understand the reason why our people did jitter and why people did ask some activists did ask question why secrecy it surround these talks. It be very normal, say at a very early stage of engagement diplomatically, both sides they do them on the ground, and when it don't be mature, they tell the public. This process will never be clouded with secrecy. All Ambazonian major leaders are aware of what is going on at the early stage of contact. Usually, it is the major groups that are engaged, and eventually everybody will be brought in, and our people will be fully briefed by our leaders and the principals that have led Ambazonia and that have represented the interests of our territory in this engagement. Our people will hear the details and will have a chance to make their own judgment, and we advise everybody to align to this very big development that we are anticipating to be announced subsequently. without also the gate and also attack, or make we not call them attack because it be very very primitive. Na La Republic na dictator they call criticism, say attack also from Ambazonian figures like Tapang Ivor. I want to advise our people them say me they avoid distraction. Tapang Ivor dan talk several times by himself, say being a propagandist. He does not speak for the Ambazonian Governing Council or the ADF. He's not a member. He's a great supporter and somebody who would always count on you for his support, but he knows nothing about what he says. Tapang Ivor have been consistent in undermining the leadership of Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba and the effort of Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba, and his social media posts are just an example of something that we have noticed. He should be ignored completely when it comes to this issue. He knows nothing about what he's talking about. This is very huge. The enemies will try to undermine it, both enemies within the governing council, within the Ambazonians rivalry. This is what we have been used to, but it is expected. Our people should not look at people who try to undermine things as an evil. When they do so, we should just take it as a democratic people, that there will always be different views when things are happening, but Ambazonians should listen to people who are credible, people who have information that others don't have, people who have institutions that have many people and many heads that takes a look at things, professionals and experts who knows what they are talking about, for them to be able to make a proper determination. The time for individual lone wolves and 1,000 captains in the same ship is over. The international community have also enjoyed expertise who have advised them, who have done research in ground zero. All Ambazonian groups have been, one way or the other, been contacted to verify where they pay allegiance and what is happening. There have been thousands of articles that have been written both in newspapers and by researchers about our struggle, and the world have clearly seen that the major factions that are most credible and consequential in Ambazonia is the Ambazonian Governing Council, which is a nationalist movement, the APLM, which is a nationalist movement. The two organizations are the only ones with command and control on forces and a great consequence that can directly influence or order the Ambazonian forces or influence them. You have the IG of Seseko Ayoktabi and the Consortium as well, who are all members of the ACT, who have also been recognized as such. This bloc of leading movement represents the best chance for Ambazonians to organize themselves and properly represent our country and the interests of our country at this early stage of pre-talks engagement. We should respect it, and we call on all internal rivals to align themselves with these groups, and we call on all forces on ground zero to also align themselves with these forces, and they have a reliable command and control chain in a General Transporter and in General Ifang of the ADF and of the SOCADEF. Our people will benefit a lot, and our state interest will be best served by us being effective with this alignment that is emerging. We call on everybody to be disciplined. We call on all activists to wait for details before they can make communication and analysis, and every questions will be answered by our leaders and their emissaries as well. In the meantime, Ambazonians have been coming back home. We are very, very happy that a massive amount of our people that have returned home after Christmas period. We have also organized in Ground Zero in the great state of Momo an agric show that have seen participants coming right from Douala back home to our liberated areas. Things are coming back normal. The era of negative activism or activism without intellectual maturity is over. We should not be associating normalcy with La République du Cameroon winning or with the end of the struggle. Normalcy in Ambazonian control is victory for Ambazonia. Its independence is us taking control of our administrators. Over 80% of our territory have been liberated from Cameroon administrative authorities. We just have pockets of Cameroon resistance and Cameroon occupation terrorist bases that we have to deal with and boot them out, and indeed we are booting them out one by one. We have seen Cameroon military in their outposts being frustrated and wanting armored cars to lift them out of our territory. That shows you that this is an army of occupation. The ADLA have been set in place to help our people to take over control of our land, to institute law and order and a sense of management that will take care of the services that our people do deserve. All Ambazonian villages should make sure they are in contact with the Governing Council to institute this system that will guarantee civilians' participation in the management of affairs with the supervision of our military wing. The time of excesses is over. Every Ambazonian soldier will be accounted to the people and will be held accountable for their activity. No excesses will be tolerated or will be allowed. We will face them face by face. Any Ambazonian group that sits like a lone wolf and commits crime or extortion or harassment with our people will be named and shamed and will be held responsible for their activity. We should focus to collaborate. We should focus to work together hand in hand and look at the way we can end Cameroon occupation presence that is causing a lot of death and arson attacks on our civilian population. Please stay tuned for tomorrow's big announcement. It will be played live on the Ambazonian Communication Network, the ACN, on the SCBC, as well also and on John Bakoro's JAM connection. Please stay tuned. We'll provide for you the links. Once more, we want to congratulate the ADF, the Bamenda Brigade, for capturing a Cameroon terrorist gendarme. We have seen the interrogation video. Unfortunately for the terrorist forces, he resisted arrest and he was ended. Nkunkum was saved for all the women that have been murdered in our country by these terrorists. Cameroon military personnel are an imminent threat to our population, and our population should work hand in hand as they have done in Bamenda to make sure once they step their foot out of their comfort zone, they will pay for their crimes and crimes against humanity against our people. La Republic the Cameroon, their terrorist forces have been infiltrating our communities, setting up syndicates of drugs trafficking that pollute our youth as a strategy to fight against Ambazonian freedom. They don't care about the life of our youth. They have spread drugs, using drugs to identify soldiers and also raping our women, calling women without any cost, without any consent, and dragging them to rape them in hotels across our territory. This practice, we must all fight it with all our tooth and our nails. We have also seen them setting up traditional leaders to use them to spread hate speech, as we have seen in Moja and the rest. We have seen also their hate speech that their governors have been spilling around. They have also set up syndicates for the trafficking of petroleum and exploiting of petroleum that have directly benefit all their governors, their colonial governors in our territory. We will be exposing these crimes and we'll be exposing them soon. La Republic du Cameroon criminals, their days have come to an end in Ambazonia, and we should all stand to uphold the pillars of our liberation. If you are listening to me, please tell your neighbor and spread this message. Our ghost towns are more important than any other thing, especially in these last days. Uphold the pillars of our liberation movement. Uphold the lockdown. Stay at home. Do not engage in other activities on Monday. It's only one day our population is called upon to voluntarily stay at home to demonstrate to the world that we want separation and independence. This is very crucial. We call on all schools that have been authorized to operate under our instruction as community schools, Baptist schools, Catholic schools, mission schools, and private schools to maintain and observe our instructions, not to use uniform, not to play anthem, but to study in respect of our wartime. And we are very happy that people are coming back home to participate in this very important sector of education. We call on the people to maintain the ban of brasseries drinks. This is very important. The symbolism of banning brasseries cannot be understated. Brasseries drinks are banned and are forbidden in Ambazonia. Anybody dealing in this contraband will be undermining the public interest, the general good of 8 million Ambazonians for their own selfish interests, and it should stop. Our citizen volunteers should take action and make sure that this contraband is not found in any place in Ambazonia, and we will continue to follow up on that. All export through Cameroon or the supplying of cash crop in CDC and other places through La République du Cameroon is forbidden during this period of war, and we must all join our hands to make sure that we can fight this thing collectively to free our homeland. All our civilians should be our eyes, and everybody who can take action should be able to contact us so that we can help them. There is something that only you can do to stop Cameroon terrorism and occupation. If you see a black leg, if you see a collaborator somewhere, somehow, that only you can reach out, please contact us and we will make that happen. God bless you and stay tuned for tomorrow. Capo Daniel, signing off.